And we are back and we are live and welcome. Thank you, everybody home listening, and thank you, everybody, wherever you might be. Thank you, everybody that's not listening. Thanks for just being. And we're on episode 8 of this podcast. And this is a very special episode. I have a very special guest. I have a legendary guest, someone who has rapped and made beats at a very, very high level for a while now. And I'm just honored, flattered that you would take some time out of your day and talk to me about production. Brilliant producer, brilliant MC, brilliant guy, man. Artist all across the board. The one and only Doseone is in the building. How are you doing today, brother?
Hello, I'm good, man. Sun's setting. It's always nice to connect. Really happy to be on your cast. You felt like a golden human being from the second I met you at the Shrap show.
Thanks,
So,
man. That was a
here for it,
great
man.
show. You killed that
Yeah,
shit.
that was the show. That was such a good time, man. Just
And
seeing everybody and
you actually handed me
Go ahead.
this Buck 65 Gel Dose One North American Adonis record there. And interestingly,
no shit.
yeah, man. And I just got a turntable literally today, and I was spinning.
Oh
it.
man, I love it.
I was-
Producer with no turntable. The future is nigh.
Well, listen,
Let's go.
I've had turntables in the past, and this is a whole nother story for a whole nother podcast. But long story short, I don't have that, John. I tried to replace it with like some cheap replacements, and longer story shorter, I didn't have a good one that I felt comfortable playing nice records on, and now I got one, and I just been spinning it. It's a beautiful record, and it sounds great, and I love this, John.
Thanks, man. That was a blast to bring back. That was like, because we recorded that for the first time in like, it might have been 98.
98.
Yeah, we did like a whole half of we had a 4-track with all these gel beats. We recorded that, and then that 4-track got out of sync, and it was kind of lost. And then we recorded a whole nother half of a record on a DS880, like the first, not first, but one of the first digital 8-tracks. They were like a nightmarish contraption that like preceded computers.
Whoa.
And Gel erased the whole fucking thing
Oh
by
no.
accident, because the same two buttons you hit to save, if you hit them in a different combination, it wipes.
Oh my God.
So he wiped the whole shit, and it was sort of like, taking back that L, turning into a W. I don't know what, 30 or 20 fucking years later, something like that.
Wow.
And actually, Zach at Hands Made was the one who was like, "Man, why don't you guys do a new Adonis?" And I was like, "Oh, okay." So
Wow.
total blast. Yeah.
That's so sick, man. I mean and it speaks to the perseverance that you've clearly shown, throughout your career, and just being willing to revisit ideas, with a fresh, set of eyes and ears, and just be willing to bring something back. And man, I don't even really know where to start with it. I was trying to think where I met you, and it was at that show, and I'll never forget you were backstage freestyling with Sharif. And like to this day, like I've watched a lot of freestyle rap and shit. I'm like, that was like the hardest session I've seen of people rapping, and I was just like, man, this is crazy. Like that was just
Yeah, me and Sharif, man, we're two Jersey boys. Before I was in Philly, I was a kid in Jersey. And then I was like, after Philly, I started my rap career in like Newark area. I went to Rutgers for a year, and we would just like go to Mecca and, battle anybody who was outside a club. But the second I met Sharif, man, we were just fucking birds of a feather, just instant freestyle buddies.
absolutely.
Kind of amazing, man. I mean, like the whole scene right now in New York is one of the more inspiring scenes. Like it doesn't exist outside time, LA when Blowed was popping off was like that, the Bay at
Yeah.
a point. But the backwoods scene and everyone around it is like incredibly potent, man.
Oh man.
It's like,
And you know what? And that was actually the show. I'm sorry, I'm mixing my shows up. It was two different Shrapnel shows. The first time I met you was at the other Shrapnel show.
yep,
With Feek and
where we
Lungs.
rapped outside.
Yeah,
It was the Nobody Planning to Leave premiere party.
Man, what a night! That was a legendary night.
Yeah, it was really great to like see everyone. And I was threatening Curly with Cypher the whole time because I know he's a
Man.
Cypher rat too,
Yo, he'll rap,
which is
bro. He's
great,
one of
you
them
know.
dudes that'll rap. Akai will rap. Sketch 185 will rap. Sharif will
Yup,
rap, you know?
yup,
And so it was just the
yup.
right combination of people there. Fools were rapping. I was beatboxing. I hadn't beatboxed for any reason for years. And I was like, nah, man, I got to do that actually real quick. That was
Yeah, that's the only times I've ever beatboxed is when somehow I get stuck
right, right.
holding it down in the Cypher.
Might as well do something. I couldn't just stand there. Sketch like, yo, drop a beat. I'm like, all right, bro, you're Sketch 185. I'll do it. But yeah, man. Oh, and of course you mentioned Philly. I was spending all that time talking about I didn't know where to introduce you as being from, but the Bay Zone,
Right, right.
Santa Fe Zone, Philly Zone, World Traveler Doseone is in the building.
Yeah, man.
And you know you've traveled a lot sonically, and I wanted to get into you know the video game aspect of what you do.
Yeah,
For people who don't know,
100%, man.
you've made beats for a long time. You've made rap beats. You made experimental things. You've done ambient stuff. But something that really, really stands out across your career that maybe a lot of people don't even ever think to dive into is the video game stuff. And I wanted to kind of focus on that. Can you like explain a little bit how you got into that or how that got started?
Yeah, man. Kind of, not kind of. It literally saved my life. Like the thing I always tell people is like, it's quite possible that the thing you are singular at in the universe will not be what gets you your value out of the very same universe. So, like, you know, I rapped and I was like, this is my shit. I'm the best at this.
Yeah.
But then being that, like, being there for producing and composing for video games is the thing that, like, took care of me financially. And not that, like, rich or money is ever on my radar, but I had a fuck ton of debt from being selfless about like just pursuing where my art wanted to go. So I was actually kind of crippled by it. So long story short, like everything started, I think it was around 2014, maybe a little before that. Like everything just started drying up. Like no more physical distributors to sell CDs through. Touring was okay. Things were just only selling so well. And I just had all this debt. So I was pretty fucked up for a bit. Like I was like, you know, and it's important for artists to talk about this, be honest. Like, I felt like I failed, you know what I'm saying? Because of just the monetary aspect.
Sure.
But it was enough to, like, outweigh all that dream chasing, all that friend making, all that doing, you know? So, long story short, this homie I know who mixed For Hero for Fool, this guy, Tony Espinoza, which is For Hero for Fool is a subtle record. He he was one of the people that when he was in grad school at Stanford helped create the Palm Pilot, which became our phones, you know. So he had like a couple $1,000,000, had this cool studio. He gets bored with that and he sells a startup to Nickelodeon and Paramount, and they're doing Facebook games. And he calls me and is like, "Can you do sound design?" And I just lied. And the only thing I'd done before was I overdubbed all of the Conan movie with Wilt Chamberlain and fucking all those dudes in it. And so I just did that to be silly. It's on the internet somewhere, Conan and Friends. I did that with Gel. So I just lied. I went in. It was fucking crazy. It was corporate. It was pretty horrible. It felt like death warmed over. But I paid off all my debt. Worked on fucking like something like 30 shelved SpongeBob games.
Wow.
I did a Jersey Shore game. Yeah, the Jersey Shore game. I was in a room with like Snooki's lawyers.
No way.
And I did, all this horrible shit, man. Any property they touched, you know, and it was like, and also too, it was Flash games and for Facebook, like Chasing Zanga and Farmville. And that stuff had no music. So,
whoa.
It was kind of like, it was literally the worst part of the industry. But I figured out that I really liked and had like a knack for doing sound effects, sound design, and composing. So out of that, I reached out to a now defunct indie games entity called Venus Patrol. And then I started going to GDC, which is the Independent Game Designers Conference in the Bay. And I just started, man, I just went in and I was like, kind of, you know, I was in the wrong space. I was like, I'll get a job, or, you know, I don't know what I'll do. And then I met on the whole scene all these guys, Sus and JW from Glam Beer. They were game jamming. And they would do them around GDC, and it would be 48 hours, and everyone makes a video game and doesn't sleep. And I was like,
Whoa.
what? You guys, like, coming from Subtle was a improv band, all jamming. Jamming is what I hate that word, but
No, I kind of
uh,
yeah, I feel you though. I feel
improvising
you.
musically. Yeah, that's really opened me up. Like and the only reason I felt confident even becoming musical was because I was always freestyling and improvising rapping. But
Yeah.
it was through that I figured all that shit out. And then, so basically, I linked up with these guys, started doing game jams, worked on Samurai Gun, and then just got into the indie scene and started working on all of these incredibly interesting, artsy video games made by interesting, artsy, safe, motivated people. And so it really felt like when I got into games, I met people who were their own little sun and had a little gravity, wore multiple hats. And they were really open to me because when I got into the industry, and it was humbling, actually changed me as a person and artist, but
Hmm.
I was the dumbest dude in the room.
Right.
I didn't know what the fuck was going on. And everyone, I was like, I wasn't full bully in high school,
Uh.
but, it was like coming full circle and really appreciating this brilliance in people that wasn't the one I focused so much on, which was just like being street and rap.
Wow.
Like if you liked rap, if you did anything, it was
Right.
like I went from monoculture to like finding a broader group of people. And then so before that I did not really. I produced little things on like Cloud Dead 10, and I always did stuff on themselves. And every once in a while, I'd make a whole beat myself. But I was always focused on writing and stuff like that. But once I got into games, I just had to like cut the shit and understand uh, how I would produce music that doesn't have vocals on it. And
Hmm.
so that meant I had to learn a lot about melody, tech, started writing in MIDI, in DAWs, and then basically, because you can't have the bummer for most rap producers is you can't have any samples because they can sue through the video game,
Of course.
right? And you might sign a contract that like does you just get sued, sort of like a record contract where the label's not responsible.
Right.
So that stuff exists, but mostly you would just get blacklisted because
Right. Because
it's
you ruined the whole
uncool,
shit.
Oh, it'd be a nightmare. So basically, I write everything and I self sample, which a lot of amazing producers already do anyway,
Yeah.
in rap. So write in MIDI, compose quickly, keep it as MIDI, bounce it all down, work with it as hard sounds, go back to the MIDI to alter things. And and then when I got into games, I always felt like there's roguelikes like Spelunky. Um, there are these games that you play the same level over and over again, but it's never the same because it's generative. So you
Right.
have randomly generated booms and bad guys and the structure of the levels themselves, right?
Yeah.
So those games, for me, I always felt like they just didn't have enough music. So one of the things, besides really bringing like the rap sound over to indie games, I started just overproducing because I was
Cool.
so grateful, and I felt like ultimately that's what you want is if you're going to play level 2, you want the music to rotate.
Yeah.
So and then once I got in and did that, and then brought rap through like a lot of the stuff. There's always been. I'm not the first to do anything
Sure.
ever in time, but coming over, there was like a lot of melodic abuse, like video games classically. I think when we were kids, the first Nintendo games were kind of like toyified to be more like a toy,
Yeah.
and the music got fucking crazy, like like
Yeah.
the octopus on 8 pianos kind of shit.
Right.
And it was all melody. And then I just came through with, the rap punk feel of like no real chord changes, just like the perfect beat and lock in and kind of that wasn't really happening. And so kind of gave me a sound and then gave all the games I've worked on their own pocket in musicality,
Wow.
somewhere between chiptune shit and
Yeah.
the music that I made for a living.
That's crazy, man. Because when I like, so this is worth because I do want to. I have questions, but that's worth going into
Yes.
for a bit because I'm trying to picture. So, are you just like walking into these spaces and marketing yourself? Like, are there other people doing what you're doing, like market, like advertising themselves as sound engineers, or are you just
Uh,
walking up to people like, "Yo, I can make sounds for your game. I'll make it better."
so there's a bit of all that. You know, the guy that's outside the bank selling CDRs in a paper sleeve in the
Mm-hmm.
past, being annoying. You got to
Mm-hmm.
kind of do a bit of that.
Hell yeah.
But the only benefit, no, I guess sort of only, but the only technical benefit of my past life, which is Doseone, all the bands, all the music, all the touring,
Yeah.
was I met a few people that knew me, either indirectly or totally directly. And
Right.
the way games work is they take several years, right?
Right.
So nobody's like, if they already have someone doing it, you're fucked. You can't work on that game.
Right.
But meeting them and showing up and being kind and cool gets you the call on the next game if it fits your sound, you know. And so
Sure.
I basically I took every yes. Like the first, I always talk about this too. Like everybody thinks like the world is about defining your yes, but with experience and whether negative or positive interactions, it's all actually about defining your no. Like what
Hmm.
you fucking won't do is way more powerful and useful.
Real.
So when I got in, I just, I said yes to everything. And the other thing that was important um, was not just meeting people and getting in touch and saying hi, which is just socials. It's not like all the
Yeah.
business cards go in the garbage.
Yeah.
But if you connect with someone, you stay in touch. And then the whole beginning of my career, I worked for fucking free. I'd be
Hmm.
like, what do you want? I'm here, and it came from jamming. And then at a point when things got more serious, everyone was like, of course you deserve money, but being earnest, like being dosed isn't enough. Had to work for
Hmm.
free. That wasn't enough either. Had to outdo myself. Like
Hmm.
the whole chain had to be in line for it to actually go well. And for me to not be, honestly, it's such an established, cool culture of young people making inspired indie games. Like I would have been a culture vulture to do otherwise.
That's
It doesn't
real.
matter who you are, what you look like. When you go into a new scene, you can't just be all me first,
Sure.
because we see rappers do it. We see everybody do it.
Every
Um,
day.
trying to like move laterally and just like demand the opportunity. Not my bag. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm gonna
Yeah.
take the stairs kind of guy.
Yeah. And those people
So,
who demand the opportunity, they don't be knowing
um,
what to do with it when they get it anyway.
go
So
ahead.
like, fuck them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like also I do good business. So the other thing too is there are a lot of sound designers, but what really also fit me was that this wasn't my first go at really being a part of a movement or a thing or a
Hmm.
group of people. And I was likable and hardworking and outgoing and a little different. You know what I mean? And I didn't have the same conversations as everyone because I had crazy questions, And so over time, I started going to PAX and all the cons, and I spent a lot of time with the awesome men and women who founded and own Devolver Digital, which is like a publisher that takes care of and publishes indie games. So they're not actually a developer, but they take developers and put their games out, and they're the best people. They have been. Video games is the only experience I've ever had where people are like right about the money. I can't even believe it.
Hmm.
Music is so complicated, and generally you got to split everything a bunch, um, and musicians, for better or for worse, not always the best at having value conversations about themselves.
True.
It's like it's not the easiest thing, man, to ask for your worth and then know why sometimes someone gets passed. To have like clear boundaries about who gets your value freely and who pays your value.
That's so
You know what I
real,
mean?
man. That is so damn
It's
real.
permanently complex, and these guys were just amazing. And right away, not right away, but I would say about 4 years into going really hard, both Gang Beasts and Enter the Gungeon did incredibly well and went platinum.
Hell yeah.
And so that's the other thing. It's like, I did Cloud Dead, all the records sold. I think in total, I probably sold a gazillion records to
Hell
the
yeah.
same people. But
Yeah,
like
yeah,
these
yeah.
things, they don't really know. Some people, I see some interest coming back now, like 10 years later, but like it's fucking insane. It's exponential how many people are exposed to the music I made in the context of these games. Because Gungeon has sold like 9 million fucking units or some
Wow, dude.
ridiculous gang piece. Also,
Damn.
and they,
Congratulations, man.
I'm just in their living room,
That's
but not my music.
that's crazy, dude. I'm blown away. I mean, I'm like going into this like
Yeah.
trying to interview you, but like as a listener to this as it's happening in real time, I'm blown away. Like that's some really deep shit. Everybody needs to rewind this at this point, about a minute and a half probably, and re-listen to what he just said. That shit was some real gems. Um, and
Yeah.
and
And,
when
that's the other reality too, there is like, this is specific for like for people that are struggling with the dream making dollars. Sometimes you just gotta like bifurcate, and the dream makes the emotional important dollars of your existence on the planet, and you gotta like figure another way to make it work. Because if someone came to me when I started making music when I was 16 and rapping in a parking lot, and they were like, "Hey, you'll be financially secure if you make music that you don't rap on," I would have said, "Fuck you."
that,
Like,
right,
you're tripping. That's wrong. You know what I
right.
mean? And I would have quit. But lo and behold, there was a really weird pairing of my value and like, with taking the thing I thought, well, that I am quite good at, that I'm dedicated to my whole life. It wasn't there. It wasn't even a factor. And
Damn.
just something to think about for people that are
No,
figuring it out. If
like it
it's not
is,
always.
man. It really, and it's crazy too because it's not really through a fault of your own, because there was a time when people were buying music, you know what I mean? And had that continued the
Yep.
way that it used
Yep.
to be, there's no doubt in my mind that, you and Anticon and Def Jux and all these things from then, it's like, oh yeah, well of course we would have went platinum. That was the internet era for a reason, and it brought a lot of cool shit, but it also demonetized and devalued, and we could talk about that all damn day.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
could talk about that
100%.
forever.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the gravity
Yeah. And
of it.
then, no, and I think the other thing too that's super different, it's incredibly different than
Mm,
like making music with the homies. For making art for art's sake, is like once you start working on games, you're taking feedback. Um,
cool.
and you are iterating, right? And it is, the pain points are like sometimes something will hit your like musical ceiling.
Mm,
You'll get a request and you're like, I don't know how to do a full angelic choir of like women and children. How do I do that? You know what I mean? And then there's things that, sometimes you're working with someone that might be a total visual genius or a programming genius or a design genius, but they only have a so developed vocabulary for what music can be or is. So you're not taking that direction. You're taking like, direction translated through not knowing specific music talk, and they'll just be like, "What's the shiny sound?" And you're
right,
like,
right.
"Excuse me."
Language barrier for
You know what I
sure.
mean? And you're like, I think that's cello. I
Right.
don't know. What are we talking about? And you got to like work back. And it's not always to, generally, at least the good thing about people like that is it's not really to please them. It's to sound more like something they are trying to reference.
Right.
And that might just be like, they're like the X-Files theme song. And you're like, just that Mellotron, just the do or
Yeah.
whatever. That's all you want.
Right.
So you got to kind of, translate a bit sometimes,
Sure.
um, and then it's the amount of work is kind of jarring, even for me. And I like to do a lot of work. Like one of the games I'm working on now has 5 hours of music, and I've been working on it for like 6 years. And
Damn.
it's a tactics game. Yeah, it's got all these different biomes, and the music changes when you're in every biome,
Right.
and it changes from day to night. And it has, I don't know, 20 interiors. And then every boss battle is in a large temple that has a similar but different progression and prescribed amount. So, like,
Right.
right now I'm working on like 4 video games, and I probably ship about 20 to 30 minutes of music a week
Whoa.
for one game or another. Yeah. So that's how, and I work fast, but I work inspired. Nothing leaves the jam phase and MIDI phase if it's dog shit. Like there's no phoning it in, but you got to kind of have a clip. And then the bad thing about that is like I go to the gym with no headphones. I go every day to just take a break from computer and being engaged in music and my ears. And I'm like forced to listen to like pop gym music, like
Yeah.
21 Pilots or whatever the fuck is happening in that place.
Yeah.
And you know, because you get burnt. You're constantly using it, so it's it's a thing, man. It's like it becomes work, quite certainly. I can never
Sure.
complain about my job, but like all that stuff, and then the other circle of hell with video games is trailers because everyone's checked out as fuck on the music, and then the
Mm.
second you're doing a trailer, everybody checks fucking.
Oh man, right. That's just how it
Yeah.
goes, I guess. Man. Wow. There's a lot in there, and you know what? I'm shooting from the hip because I'm being interested by stuff that I didn't necessarily write down at first, and we're just gonna make it work. And I want to backtrack slightly because when you're saying things
Yes,
about
please.
sound design and you're making levels and you're doing this, like I imagine you're doing sound effects, you're doing actual full on sound
Yep.
tracking. But what type of setup are we talking about? Say you're going to design some sound effects or something. Are you using just a straight MIDI keyboard and a DAW? Like what type of physical setup do you have?
Yeah. So sound design is separate. So that's another thing to delineate for all the homies and homettes is
Sure.
that not you don't actually always meet someone who composes and does sound design. The thing I don't do is implementation. So that requires a rudimentary or exceptional level of code understanding and the ability to manipulate and write it, right?
Sure.
So I don't actually implement my sounds. I leave that on like one of the designers who's inclined. I know a little bit about it all, but the way I've always felt about that is like if I'm working with someone who's talented at code and working sound in a video game producing engine, I'd rather let them be talented at that and me be talented at what I am.
Sure.
So the first step for all these games is like I'm still versed in all the capabilities of the different engines and what they can't do is more important.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always come up with a basic design plan for how music and sound effects will be implemented based on how the core loop and play and feel of the game is. And then we sort of go from there. So when I do sound design, it is always, I have like libraries that I own that have like horse in rain,
Right.
man on stairs, and then it's like guns and metal sounds and certain things you can never record yourself,
Right.
like anything pyrotechnic. Like nobody's really doing that at home. So those are things that I'll buy and repurpose and pitch and alter.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, a lot of the sounds I have two ways when I work on a realistic game, like this game Escape Academy. I'm working on the sequel now. It's just escape rooms.
Ooh.
And that game is technically super dry and there's no room. It's a 3D game. And if the doorknob needs to sound like a doorknob,
Right.
there's no room for interpreting or being artistic about having like taking artistic license about creating a new sound for
Sure.
doors. It's just not happening.
Sure.
It needs to be real. That's actually your gig. So with that, I'm fucking micing doors. I'm micing floors. I have like a small footstep Foley zone in my garage and like a toy box full of shit I use,
Oh
like
hell
chains, cloth, these like drapes. You learn that like a lot of things are done with very little and you are impersonating feels, but they need to be realistic,
yeah. Right.
So for dirt, I use rice, it's like, and I move a shoe with one hand in the shoe while I record it. And then I basically have like a very simple shotgun mic to any form of Zoom or dictaphone. I use the Teenage Engineering overpriced thing now just because I bought
Dude,
it and I got to make it.
hold up.
The
I'm
one with
so
the
sorry
Wiki
to
Wiki.
I have to cut you off. I'm so damn sorry, but I literally had teenage engineering written down in my notes. Like, do you use any teenage engineering shit? That's so
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
that you
So
said
that
that.
was, and that, yeah. So the next thing is actually like Sludge Life. I did 1 and 2 with Terry Beltman, and almost every, which is inspired by a sound designer named Martin Cavalli, who
Mm-hmm.
worked on Goner and Goner 2. And every single sound effect, except for like the sound of jumping on an empty shipping container, that's actually metal, is done with the OP1 and with my mouth.
Bro, I
So
love the
all of the
OP1.
UI is I make mouth noises, I sample them down, I run a really long, I just open Ableton at, like you're doing this podcast, and I run the OP1 in and I keep using it like a SK1 and doing mouth noises and changing them on the fly. And then I sit down, I edit them all, I stack them, I layer them, I do EQing, all that shit. And I create sounds. So that is the most fun kind of sound design, because that one you're like, I don't know, maybe the door opening sounds like this, and you make it with your mouth, you know. And the OP1 is so powerful that you can have it sound like a modular synth, or you can give things like a girth and a feel that's really tactile.
Yeah.
Because the other way to do that is to run it through VSTs and plugins and mangle stuff. But it's the same process. It's like,
Right.
hey, I'm going to run this, me banging a pan through all these plugins and see if I can make it sound like a bird chirp, you know. And that's kind of what I do with the OP1. And so it's really fun. And like when I do work, composition, the K hole in all this is mixing. So
Ooh.
I can jam and make fucking, I don't know, 20 minutes of great loops that I'm loving, that I just got to organize, that are going to be bangers in a day. And sound effects take me, I can do 100 sound effects in a day if
Right.
I'm cranking. But mixing takes 2.5 days every fucking time.
Oh
So it's
man.
kind of this, you know, and that was the other thing, that I was always a bitch about mixing. I acted like I would just leave the room when whoever I was making beats with, whether it was Gel or No Stom or the No Twist, I would just be like, I don't understand mixing. I don't have that skill.
Uh,
But the reality is, I just never wanted to put the time and attention in, and really, I learned it by myself. And now everything I mix to master to go into video games, and you learn that too. And then the other crazy caveat about games is you go in the lowest common denominator. Like of course, I have like nice Genelecs in the studio. I never play the video game music through that shit. You got to play it through the dick hole on the laptop and the fucking
whoa.
phone. And you got to get a handle on the highs and make sure the lows are present, you
Yeah.
know, and like add something to the kick so you hear the front of the kick. And you're basically mixing for people playing on substandard audio systems. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really buy you any time. It's not like you could leave out any of the hard work you put into a done song, but it is something that like keep in mind.
Damn.
Yeah, so you know, it's the whole thing, and like sound design is really fun and easy, but like if you're doing just sound design in the world, the world's gonna push you towards film and industry work, and a lot of that is kind of thankless. And not really fun.
Is there
And
money in
being
it though?
indie and doing it all myself is way more fun. But like
Right.
when I was at Nickelodeon, I was the only sound guy, but I've been to some larger studios where there's like several composers, several sound guys. Everybody has healthcare, but
Right.
they just tell you shit. I had to not do a game a year ago because it was too much of that structure.
Uh.
And they were like, they just know that all the coders and artists are going to be working with 3 years. So for 3 years, so if you go in week one and you're like, yo, I made this banger for the theme song, they're going to be like, we have 3 years. Try again.
Right. They
Breaks
don't
my
even
heart.
care if it's
Like,
a banger.
I can't. Yeah, I can't throw away. So that's the line I think for everyone too, as they move into stuff like this, is like you have to be comfortable with iteration. But you got to have your rules about like, I don't just throw stuff away because I don't just try anything. I'm feeling it and I fucking make it be felt by whoever's listening. If it's not working for you, that's actually the hard part of all this, is like throwing away work.
Ooh.
You know, I mean, sometimes it happens
Sure.
with rap too.
Sure.
you get to keep the drums, but you're rebuilding the rest because so and so wasn't feeling it. It's
Hmm.
kind of the same thing, but a little more specific or vague, depending on the person that
That
you're working with.
is that's so real, man. And you're really speaking directly to me about the mixing shit because I'm in the same boat. And then I'm like, oh well, it sounds a little dusty. It's an artistic decision, but I have some laziness going on with that too. I need to address. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's really the only real pro tips I have, because I came from being a total novice and it all just being like a giant wall, like a tidal wave of sound that I pretended to not understand, is like there still is a thing such as someone who's incredibly talented at mixing and gifted, and their ears speak to them differently, and they know how to affect those frequencies specifically, naturally, and then they learn over time. But most of it is over time, and the best way to start is just notch mixing. Take a full EQ and make a tiny sliver and see what is muddying your tracks. And
mm,
it's generally this low mid frequency, and sometimes S's and hi hats. It's all like the same things that push you back from music across all genres. You know what I mean?
right.
Um, and it's really just you know why more people don't take it on lovingly and with excitement? Because
Mm,
it's dirty fucking work and it's boring and it's not the same. It's cleaning up your room, dude. That's why
right.
it sucks. It's cleaning up your mess. It feels like you're taking the magic out. But if you can figure out a way where you're relating to it, like I'm bringing what is better about it out a little more, that's the place to start. That feels good, at least for me,
Yeah.
where, I'm going to spend a boring hour listening to this 2-minute song 92 times, but I'm going to make it sound better.
Yeah, man. Yeah, seriously, dude. And the older I get, the more I'm ready for boring work across all aspects of my life, but musically for sure, because it's not so much about chopping stuff up and like making a thing sound cool. Like I really do enjoy just like fucking with kick drums for an hour, or just doing stuff like that. And I think that's a good note for people
Yeah.
listening. Like you got to pay attention to that
And
stuff.
I think we always got to I don't know, at least what works for me is like, which I learned this from poems and rap writing.
Mm,
Like the muse that makes me really pull excellent shit out of the ether, that motherfucker is not always at work. It's busy frolicking or looking at a dead body or whatever the muse
real.
does, right? So when that does hit me, I'm like, get the pen. I gotta write right now. I'm not a sucker or a noob. I know when this feeling is the feeling.
Mm,
And then when you're making music and beats, there's the same thing. There's this time where you're inspired and you're like, this music's coming out of my fingertips. And then there's 8 in the morning on your first coffee, kind of grumpy and not really a superhero. And that's when I edit. That's when I change things. That's when I mix. So
mm,
basically, I work with the absence of the muse and sick myself on grunt work, mixing duty, balancing, like stabilizing an effects chain. Throughout the whole game. So there's like I try to act without being polar. I try to act like there's two me's, like the grumpy one who just cleans up my mess and the one who makes messes and has a great time. And I let them
man.
have at work as
That's
it
a
comes up,
valuable. That's a real valuable gem right there, because people often talk about beat block or writer's block, and like, yeah, maybe it's not time to do that. Maybe it's time to do some
Yeah, just
boring
use it.
bullshit. Clean your room.
Go lift a rock. Yeah,
Yeah,
just fucking, manual labor. The other guy who's not talented that no one ever meets, who's
right.
grumpy and has like no opinions about the world, but like technical opinions about what you spend all your time doing. Like that guy's very useful. It seems like the
Hmm.
demon inside that he's got a job too, he or
Jesus,
she.
man, you are not wrong. And you know what? I'm just gonna double back to this very quickly because I'm just on the floor that you mentioned teenage engineering before, because that was my literal next question. And I've had an OP1 sitting here that doesn't work. Like a couple of the keys are like fucked up, and there's a repair spot in
Oh
Jersey.
no.
Yeah, there's a repair spot in Jersey that's probably about an hour drive from me. It's like the only teenage engineering repair place, and I don't trust my local post office. I'm going on a rant, but I'm inspired by this
No.
conversation
Yeah, you
to
get
go
it
to
fixed, dude.
Jersey
It's
and
like I've spent $900 on way too many things at this point that make music, and
yeah,
that's the only one that I've got infinite make use, value, inspiration out of.
Man, oh my
It's
God,
fucking, it's gold.
I love
It's
that
really
thing,
like, yeah.
and it's fun.
I buy all their stuff too. I support. I try to use all their shit. That's
Wait,
the God node though.
wait, you
That's the
bought the
most important
table?
one. But no,
You
which
bought
one?
the table? It was like a $5,000 fold out table. It was just a table.
No, that stresses me out. That shit is like they're taking white people's money. That's like nerd. That's nerd on nerd crime.
It's
I'm not
nerd
really here for
supreme.
that. I support it. It looks beautiful. You know what I was mad as hell about was the home wax pressing thing
Oh,
that sold out
I
in
knew
5 minutes.
I knew that was going to happen.
Oh, I was mad. I was like, and
Yeah,
then ever since it's like backwoods. I hit it immediately because I don't want to be the sucker that
right.
like took a shit and made eggs and missed, you know, every single unit. It's
Man,
just the worst shit.
do you fuck with the like the pocket operator line too? Because I've gotten better with them over time, but I've watched people make some beautiful full albums. Shout out Raz Fresco and O Ricky and some people like I've seen people make some
Yeah,
crazy
they
shit with
kill it.
them joints.
No, and DiBiase's a fucking
The
goddamn
goat,
sampler savant.
man.
Um, yeah, no, for me, so the when I was in Subtle, uh, the 6 piece band was when I started to really produce.
Hmm.
And for me, and this might be for other people, I didn't start understanding production until I saw it visually and in a linear form.
Hmm.
Once I got into Digital Performer and then Pro Tools and eventually Ableton, blah, 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 I became the guy I would be. There was something about working blind in the box on an SP1200, on an MPC. I had the SP202. I did one of the first 202 records ever, the Slow Death record and the Green Think record before
Wow.
Cloud Dead. But I don't, my vision doesn't go, man. I clunk around with loop points and like
Mm,
sequencing it doesn't speak to me like the dance music, because all those sequencers are stripped from dance music.
of
And
course.
DiBiase is a great example. Obviously, someone who has like ESP with samplers
Yes.
speaks liquid, fluid, and exactly and directly to them. They speak to him. They're never in his way. I did not experience that until I was working with a doll and it was in
Mm,
front of me visually. And now I'm like a beast in my own right, but it really took that. So like things like the pocket operator, if I'm gonna make a beat, I have like the Isla
mm,
SP1200 clone.
hell yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
Cool.
If I'm gonna get stuck in a fucking interface truncating and looking
Yeah.
at abbreviations and dashes and numbers, that
Y-
shit just never spoke to me. It took I think for a long time I struggled. I could be very smart with my writing and my
mm.
raps, but I think I just had a real big struggle with not being smart enough or something for samplers.
Well, I
Uh,
have to stop you
to-
there because it ain't about you not being smart enough. You're a very smart person, and I think a lot of time it's like I say I can't draw, but I can make music. I don't think we necessarily
right.
make the same distinction for rap and making beats, and that's why I'm partially why I'm doing this because people like Sharif, where I'm like, bro, you would make the illest beats ever. Do you make beats? Like I asked him that,
Yes.
he's like, I
Yes.
don't. I'm like,
Also,
you know,
he has a distinctive ear. You don't actually hear that in rappers. They're like I'm gonna caricature motherfuckers, but they'll be like, turn the dope part up.
right,
And that's not helpful. You might
right,
as well be like when I was at Nickelodeon and they were like, make it more red and Parisian. It's
mm-hmm.
like that's nonsense. Sharif right away when I was just working with him, the way he hears and responds to music and talks about it, he is articulating all its individual aspects, what it is and isn't doing, as opposed to like the sort of gray matter of just like beats being dope or whack. And I
Yeah.
think there are individuals that have that in them. And it's honestly too, I hate to sound like a karate guy or whatever, but it's all about that 1,000 hours. You
Yes, it
actually
is.
drawing, I don't care what the fuck it is, graffiti, my little black books, like you have to waste your time until you're spending it.
Man, whoa, yeah, yeah. And you know what, dude? That's man, goddamn. This is why I'm not giving this podcast out for free. I'm not giving it out for fractions of a penny. They got to pay for this. These are jewels, man. This is really, really excellent what you're
Yeah.
saying here, man. And And shout out to Sharif and shout out to DiBiase. I'm actually interviewing him on Monday. Um, but I
Oh,
might
dope.
real shit. But I dead ass. I'm trying to keep it to beat makers. But there will inevitably be rappers on here, and he really might got to be on here talking about beats because goddamn, you know what I mean? Like you're right. He has a language
Yeah,
for
and
it.
yeah, definitely. You should definitely talk to him about that. Because the same thing I was describing about the Muse. There's this one of my favorite poets ever, Galway Kinnell,
Hmm.
had this like he's from the '70s, late '60s, nasty ass fucking writer though.
Hmm.
Kills, destroyed, like Woods level, stick in your brain forever imagery and stuff.
Yeah.
And a white boy that wasn't doing like poems about gardens. Like it's like raw,
Right.
visceral shit. And he was talking about how they were like, "Why do you break your line so weird?" And he was like, "There's a cat behind me, and that cat, when it scratches the back of my hand, I break the line." And
Whoa.
I'm a cat man, and I think about how you don't own this being, but if you have your fucking energy right, the little motherfucker will come sit on your lap, you know? And so
Right.
this is the way that the gift being a vessel works. And I don't believe in God or any of that nonsense, but I do believe in connecting with thoughts this boring, basic ass world won't let you have that you can have. And the same thing applies to music and just like opening up and speaking through. I don't like speaking through, for me, it's speaking through the pen and otherwise having banal thoughts. For DiBiase, it's speaking through these machines, man. And his
Yeah.
ability to speak clearly through multiple machines is fucking incredibly real. And I think that's what you see in the hip hop greats too, you
Yes.
know,
People with a
and
sound.
great producers, you
Yes.
know, which
And you know what? It's so funny too, because speaking of great producers, and speaking of you and all of these people, knows them. I was saying knows them. I knows them. I was supposed to interview
no stum, yeah.
knows Dom. I was supposed to interview him yesterday. But something came
Oh
up.
shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think we're gonna do it tomorrow, and then I'm getting ahead of myself by saying this on a hot mic, but I'm supposed to be interviewing Lungs tomorrow, and then I think later I'm gonna try and interview him because he's on a different time table. So it's really
Lungs is like I tell you what, when I first heard him, just from the dedication and like singular rap form, because I honestly, man, that was the first place I heard a style that I'm hearing a lot, and it's
mm,
kind of sped up company flow style, not to derive what
sure,
he's
sure.
chipping away at or anything, but
They've
like
heard
I've
it
heard
before.
the blueprints before. But when I heard his like dedication and like singularity and rap, and then I realized he mixed and produced, and then Teller too mixes
Oh
and
yeah,
masters. It's always like a pleasant shock for me. I'm like,
yeah,
my fucking man. That's what's up.
bro. Teller mixed all that shit off of our album, bro. He sent it back. It was done, bro. He mixes. He makes beats. He's a guy who's gonna be on here as well. And
Dope.
I definitely got to give the
Oh,
flower.
real quick,
Yeah, what's up?
I got to give you your props. That is one of the best records of the year. Everyone, it's a sum of its parts, and I recognize that immediately when I ingest it. It's not just very much. It very much is the Teller show, but it's not
Yeah,
just the Teller show. And what you guys did to come together and make that work, you just got to do more of that. It's really dope. Very inspiring. Fucking resonant shit, man.
thank
Good
you,
on you.
man. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. That means the world to me because it 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 did come together quite organically. We actually just set up a session to work for someone I can't say out loud until we make the shit. You know what I mean? Shake a little more, but we're
Dope.
we're we're working with that. And to hear it from you because I got to get on the personal end of this podcast briefly. Like I heard of you through Aesop Rock when I was in like middle school.
Oh,
Um,
of course.
and like I think, and it
Yeah.
was interesting because I think this must have been the LimeWire. No, it was the Pandora days, adjacent to the LimeWire days.
LimeWire.
I
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Bless it
I
up,
I
LimeWire.
was fucking with
Um,
Pandora because it was
that's
decent for a minute. It would actually put you onto some cool shit, and that's actually how I heard about ASAP Rock when I was like 12 or something. But then when it got to the Appleseed joint, Odessa, or perhaps the one on Float,
yep.
I was always, as a kid, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? And more abstract, I was like, You know, because I'm like, what? I've never heard no shit like this in my young life. And then further thought, abstract, I'm like, this is the type of person I would like to sit down and talk with at some point. And fast forward, we are
So here we are.
this is crazy as shit. And just I wanted to, say thank you because that's just I appreciate you, man. Seriously.
Yeah, man, same, dude. And I really appreciate coming back into the game. I think for me, like, especially after I went into games and had like a amazing human time doing a thing, doing art, doing an industry. The reason I like shied away from the music industry and underground rap in general is like the generation I born into was like low key, high key, homophobic,
Yep.
and like actually just my calling to experiment and outdo myself and not be the same was polarizing in a negative way. And cats were mad corny and all about just not accessing it, the gift that we were all experimenting with the same way that I was. So
Yeah.
I took distance. Coming back, first met Sharif and Dove, and instantly was like, wait a minute, are these dudes doing it? And they're cool, well-rounded, amazing people, and I feel
Yeah.
comfortable being the person I am. So it's really, I'm very grateful that like you're one of the first people that I met on that scene, and that it's it's lousy with good people as opposed to I don't know, even if someone's talented, they can still be a poser.
Oh my
You
God,
know what I
yes.
mean? And like
Yeah.
there's like it's just I'm not here for that, man. And especially in rap, I always was a little because I come from a Sharif school where like actually I come from another school that kind of precedes that, but it's just like if you're kind of garbage, I just want to serve you.
Yeah.
Like I don't but I'm also a very nice person and I would love to meet an interesting human being. And there's
Sure.
this line, it's just like it's a line in the sand and you're just walking it. And so there was a thing with rap where I was like, man, these are like peckerheads. I want to destroy them all. This isn't where I find. So in that, like making music, that's why I started meeting all these electronic and post rock artists, and just felt like I'd reach out in other directions, and it all served me as a human being to like open up, meet new people. Um, but it's really nice to come back to rap, which is I think, the greatest American invention and the Wild West of expressing yourself, and like anybody can do it. You just gotta not suck for too
Man.
long.
For too long. That's so
Um,
real, bro. You
so
said that.
for too long,
For too long.
you're allowed a little.
Yeah, you got some time. You have a window to suck. And pause. And I there we go with homophobia. But pause is funny. I'm sorry. I be saying pause a lot. I love gay people and gay people. Let's shout out to all marginalized people of all types of things.
Yes.
Long as you cool, like we fuck with you. And that's a good point that you're bringing up about the inclusivity of this era. Like they're really not playing that shit. Like if you're what Lung said on the track, if I have kids, I'm gonna love them for exactly who they is, like Dwayne Wade. I'm like, that's a crazy bar to drop in this crazy song that you said. But I feel you, and it's kind of coming around to that. And I appreciate you touching on that. And in the to keep it honest, because we're coming up on an hour, and I have like so goddamn many more questions, but I feel like I can reach out to you over time, and I'm gonna learn some of this shit elsewhere. But I did want to ask this, and in changing genres and changing scenes and spaces, and some of that backlash that you would get from rappers, which I'm sure Sharif and people in Lungs, they always deal with haters and shit like that. But when you started making more, I guess let's call it accessible music, respectfully, like what was the response amongst your peers kind of like, and also how did it feel, like the general response? What was like the difference, like for
Well,
making weird rap?
it sort of goes unseen, man. I'll just get like all of a sudden someone will text me and be like, "No way, motherfucker! My kids are playing this game in my living room, and it's your voice." And they'll be
Whoa.
like, "What are they, Gang Beasts?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, it's fucking Gang Beasts. The kids won't stop playing it." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, there we go." But like doing
Wow.
it on my own, and this is something I did not really have my head high when I transitioned, man. I was full of shame and I was incredibly broken. Because it was not my dream to take iteration on shelved SpongeBob games. So like between A and C, there was a B that was god awful, didn't even feel like me, and asked me to walk in a world I reject,
Hmm.
which is like corporate and all that stuff, and like, but the good news is you can survive that shit. If you're out there hustling on the streets,
Hmm.
making your dream out of thread you find, it is actually no fucking thing to walk some corporate halls for a while and do more damage than all those people once you're acclimated to how the stupid system works and what the semantics are of office politics, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's not like, it's a lot easier than fucking hustling and dream stitching. I'll tell you that right
Wow.
fucking now. It may have sucked and been more painful, but it does not ask me to like invent myself moment to moment. It's like do the same thing as yesterday. That's so much easier than
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
come out of nowhere with the thing no one's heard that you've never heard that you want to keep doing.
Wow.
Um, yeah, man. So I think really you got to stay true to yourself. Like your art. That's the other thing too. Is most of my homies who, and I know quite a few that are musical geniuses, and they'll like work in the trades now
Hmm.
to make ends meet.
Hmm.
And um, I wish everyone an opportunity, but mostly it's going to be some form of hard work that none of us can see coming. I wish them that opportunity and hard work to actually have the thing they can do be adjacent to their talent and
Sure.
feed off of it and their meaning. You know what I'm saying? Because that's like that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. Um, Actually, it's not. I don't know what the numbers are on it, but like in my music career, you would meet a lot of people and like you hang out with them for a bit, and like the number one question you want to ask is like, "Are you rich?"
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just
Are you alive? Are
it's
you
just not the
good?
same person.
Yeah.
It is because it's esoteric and but there's a huge difference between like having all the choices in the world and choosing to like be an artist and all the people I know in the schools I come from, which is I have no fucking choice. I'm an artist. This
Yes.
world is incredibly more difficult. This world is actually not passable, not livable, if I'm not in touch with and engaging my artistic side. And so those are my people. As we go through this no king shit and all that, I just feel like everyone's crouching tiger, hidden racist, and
Man.
the only thing that like allows me to center for 5 seconds is like I do have a people, and they're like creative, and that includes everyone, trans, queer, black, white, every color in between, fucking fresh off the boat, been here 1,000 years, doesn't fucking matter, and like there's a lot less of us than I think the world needs,
Hmm.
but we do have a people. And so that's who I try and feed, and games feeds that. And like the cool thing is I got revenue share on these early games, and so they really took care of me. And everyone's going to hell, but
Yeah.
I made my money off of joy.
Yeah.
I made money off of experimental art and
Yeah,
people
man.
smacking buttons in front of a TV. And like
Yup.
that is actually what I wish for everyone. Is like you don't got to risk your life. You can risk your gift. You know what I mean? And so I think that's so. Whenever I see that, and then I have had some peers see me, and my favorite way to be seen is just that, like, yeah, you were always a hard worker,
Wow.
because that's that shit. That's what my parents. My dad's an artist, but I grew up in rough neighborhoods, and being a hard worker and being an artist, like you would kind of get the blue collar motherfuckers who were hard workers and had hands like catcher's mitts.
Mm.
I remember them looking at me and being like, "You're some kind of bitch who
Right.
wants to wear a starter parka and be loud and everybody look at you." But the reality is, we're the fucking same. I just
Yeah.
wanted to wear a starter parka and be loud and have everyone look at me. Also, but like that's our people, working class, inspired motherfuckers. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's some real shit, man. And you know what? So I'm gonna just say that we are at an hour. However, If you got a minute, I might have to go 10 more because I just have one more question and then the lightning round that I ask everybody. If you got a second, we'd appreciate
Let's
your
do
time.
it.
All right.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm here for it.
So the last question, as I scrolled, I realized, we skipped a bunch of stuff, but we hit a bunch of stuff, and the flow of this is going well because you're answering questions without me asking them. So I'm happy about that. But the very last question I have written
Yes.
down, you've gone everywhere with the sound, and you clearly don't have any qualms about going new places. What would you say is next for you sonically? What is next for Doseone in terms of
Oh
what you're
man.
doing with this sound?
Well, I see that's the other thing too. I really recommend the best thing about games. I'm sure you have this as a producer or person, but I don't know, any point in time over all these years, I've always been like, man, if I just had time and didn't have to do this other shit, I would make a Boards of Canada electronic record.
I've
I
said
would
that.
make fucking Death Grips industrial record. And
Mm-hmm.
doing video games has actually allowed me to get that shit off my chest. Like, I remember thinking that 30 years ago and being like, no one will ever let Dose not rap and make something chill and electronic. You know what I mean? And this has been really great for that. So at this point, I'm actually flush. And now that rapping and expressing myself in the way that I'm most confident is back with all these other skills added, I'm actually on one page for the rest of my life. And that's just outdo myself right now. And with respect to everything I've always done, I am not the one. I am not a comfort food. I am not granite. I am not static over time. I am not in anyone's shadow, and no one is truly a single father to my style. So all I want to do is impress myself. I want to work with people that allow me to be surprised, to be engaged, and that's it. And just outdo. I have like 5 full lengths in one state of done or another.
Wow.
It's all just happened from working, really hearing that Nobody Planning to Leave on 2CB at Zach's house.
Hell yeah.
And hearing Prem and Curly, I'm fucking hearing the hunger in Curly.
Yo.
I don't know if I heard words. I just heard that hunger and I was like, yeah.
Yep.
And like it calls you back to like a street light you used to always be posted up on that you maybe weren't for a while. But like that truth, it's like a card. It's not really a ghetto path, but it's just this like this purity thing.
Yeah,
and it's like
real.
It's a gift to have a relationship with that purity and channeling once in your life. To have it twice in your life is double the gift. Ooh. And to have, it's not constant, but to have a lifelong relationship to that is the goal. It's actually not money. It's like, because I think about this a lot, as my dad was talking about the subtle record called A New White. I was super depressed leaving my parents' house, going back to Oakland one time. And he was like, you got to take all these dark, grays and blacks and all this heaviness and make a new white out of it.
Wow.
And he was saying he wants to see me be a career artist, not like Rothko, who his suicide was his last painting. He like perfectly got his blood all over the bathroom. And like, you can't, this path, the real win is to do art your whole life and not die and not be dark. You know what I mean? To get out of the anxiety, to get out of the neuroses, to get out of the trauma, and to do it your whole life. Like, there's not many artists that are like that, that are career artists that like literally, man, rap is not the best example because a lot of people don't stay perfectly dope forever. So that's something I'm concerned with, is I want to be a musician where it won't be the same thing from record 1 to record 100, but it's its own animal, and you stay engaged and surprise yourself, and never be a shadow of your former self, man. That's the thing. That's when you're losing.
Yeah.
In my true opinion as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you do AI with Timbaland.
Oh my God.
Really quick, we got to talk about, why did Timbaland make an AI song and then decide she's Asian?
We could talk
I
about
haven't
this
seen anybody
forever,
talk
bro.
about that.
Because
What the
first of
fuck
all,
is that shit?
because remember the other AI rapper, FN Mika? He was like light skinned with
Oh,
the green dreads, and then he was like saying nigga on the
I
song, and
forgot
everybody was
about that.
like,
I forgot about the N
yeah,
word
the N
robot.
word
Oh
AI
my
man.
god.
And so everybody was like, wait a minute, what's the ethics of AI with the N word? And I'm like, first of all, I need to stop looking at the internet because this shit is stressing me out so goddamn bad. But but it's interesting. It's taking black art. And like that's why Timbaland's an asshole 10 times over, and I'll say it on the podcast. I don't care because
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
not
No.
just stealing art openly, which he's done, but you're also like stealing black art and being like, yo, check it out. We're doing
Nope.
the K-pop thing with whatever respect is due to K-pop, but they take black art and whitewash it so that non-black people can enjoy it. And so it's like, all right, bro, you're gonna take black music and turn it into something that's not
And
even gonna
Asian wash it.
you're gonna Asian
And
wash
K
it,
wash
bro.
it.
Like what the fuck is
It's
going,
not, none
bro?
of it is.
Cuz is
Also,
out of his
too, that's
mind.
segueing out of what we were just talking about. Like, there is actually no worse crime against artist humanity than to cast yourself in a new light that floods doubt through your previous achievements and
Ugh,
talents. And
I'm
for Tim
over
Durant to
him.
do that, it's like, bitch, what were you doing this whole time?
I wouldn't,
You
bro.
know?
I would have never believed that I could say something like I don't fuck with Timbaland at all. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
believe it if you told me I would say that. But right now, bro, that's how it's looking. And Timbo, if you want to come on the show and you're listening to this, you're more than welcome to. It's not going to be an easy
But you're
conversation.
gonna have
But I know you're a legend, bro. I'm not going to talk to you. I'm not going to call you nothing other than a child of God. But man, you got to have a talk with somebody, bro. We got to keep that so real.
Also, you know what else he's doing? He's fucking vocalist shaming. Like, what? You're that good of a producer that the fucking whole vocal performance can be a plug-in.
He's an
What?
asshole,
What?
man.
That's crazy to think about. That it's like anyone doing that is snubbing. Man, I can't even believe that. And the other thing too that I love about the fascination with AI is like right now you could sick AI on like solving homelessness in the greater Chicago area,
Exactly.
but
You could
instead
right. Why are
we want to steal, we want to make Basquiat.
we're
We want to
stealing
make a
rap?
bot that paints you a Basquiat every 5 seconds.
Like
Like,
what the fuck?
no,
It's
get out of the
nuts.
ether, dude. Get
It's
the AI out of the ether and stick it on fucking how much sand can go in a bag perfectly. How
yeah,
much
like let's
fucking
do some shit.
food can be
Oh my
distributed.
god. Yeah, bro. And I said though, I did say on Twitter, and I'll say it live on a hot mic. I think they cloned him because he started
Mm.
going off the rails around the time that movie They Cloned Tyrone came on, and it just made me think that. And I'm like, everybody think Gucci a clone, but I think Timbaland might be a clone because he doesn't even. I don't know.
You
He
know
don't
what?
even look or act like a
It's just
person no
both.
more.
It's who he's around. It's Botox and ayahuasca or whatever the fucking two things are. He's just got two
Yeah,
creepy pillars that hollow human beings, but
and
claim they fill you. And he's bouncing between them, and he has lost his ability to like think critically. Also, too, when you get that, but he's so far down a hallway of shit and shame that I think he woke up a couple years ago and was like, "Yo, I lost it, bro. I can't make fucking beats anymore." Like
right.
I don't know if people ever have it. Like if you really get yourself that turnaround on the horse, to use a cowboy term, what the
Yeah.
fuck are you doing, man?
Yeah, you never had it, and that's why I'm, that's why the underground is gonna live forever. People like you are gonna do the opposite and be like, how much more human can I make my output, as opposed to, oh, I'm washed up and I don't give a fuck if anybody ever gets paid ever again, and I just want this bag and I'm just gonna destroy art because I'm Timbaland.
Yeah,
Fuck that.
yeah,
And
yeah, man. That's it. Nah,
it's
that's also like we can do better as a people. We do not need our fucking senior citizens
yeah,
betraying the ethos. Like you're not even betraying young people, man. You're doing shit you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to drink rainwater off the ground. It's like fundamental shit, man.
fundamental
That comes
regular
with
shit,
expressing yourself and
and
being copied.
I think the real enemy here is, before I get off the soapbox, the real enemy I think is nostalgia. And people want to defend Timbaland because he made some of their favorite songs, but that was a long ass time ago. And I know people roughly my age and younger making better shit than Timbaland today, right now. And if you don't believe me, then ask me about it.
Yeah,
Cause
yeah,
fuck
that's
that.
the fucking truth.
Find something new
You
to
know,
enjoy.
I mean, But people, we're cursed. Uh, we're mildly cursed with getting our vision and our relationship to being artists from uh, a type of music, because music is by and large considered an accessory to lifestyle. It's
Yes.
something like the homegirl puts on to get her hair right that makes her feel like hair gets right.
Right.
Like that. We're always up against that, and sadly, we'll never be free of the blindingly fucking stupid shit that the sort of culture side, lifestyle side asks of music and calls the best. Like all the constant rating of rap albums
Oh
that
my
I don't
God.
even rate
Oh my
drives me
God.
fucking mad.
It's insane.
You know,
When Jay-Z said how you
they're
rate
like the
music,
third 50 Cent. The
right.
third 50 Cent record is genius. I'm like, I didn't even know that. What are you doing? You're
Like, you
lost.
stop, bro. Are you enjoying any of this? Like, are you like, what is going the fuck on? He said, like, I don't know. I think people need to. Somebody said something about how like all these like fans of sports are not actually fans of, or they're not fans of music. They need to get into like some analytical bullshit. Like they just like numbers and they just like,
Yeah.
And to be
Yep.
fair, and I say this with,
Lifestyle.
yeah, they like lifestyles, man. And I think and a lot of people don't have anything. I was gonna say the Jay-Z line when he said how you rate music, the thugs with nothing relate to it. It's like you don't even have for you to say this album is not good and you don't even understand it is just bonkers. And I don't even want to argue with you or talk with you because you're crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's, and I say this with all the respect in the world, but I've been meaning to say this. Within the space and within the underground and within the art scenes and music scenes, there's a lot of undiagnosed divergence going on. And I'm not saying
Oh
that to make
yeah.
anybody
It's
feel
everywhere.
bad, but it's like a lot of people really, really are like, maybe we haven't processed it or got to the bottom of what's going on, but like these people aren't just in it for the music. There is a compulsion aspect that goes in. So before you start arguing with people, sometimes you got to remember that they are undiagnosed. That's my point.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, too, man, I feel like, I'm really so fucking heaven happy. The conversation doesn't really get had in a lengthy, productive manner, but this is really the only way to access immortality is to leave a real slice of you in
That's
time,
real.
through art, period. At .com, end of conversation. And when you look at it like that, you can't go timberlanding with robots
No.
and adding that to your tomb. It's like this is like we're making a better world. This world is garbo.
Mm-hmm.
It's what pushes you to that. I think anyone that's in tune with expressing themselves in a medium means that this world is just not cutting it. You know what I'm saying? The Eagles games and the hot dogs and the standards aren't working for you. And those are the people that are important. And those are the people that get as many every time, like BLM COVID right now, what's happening, as many people as the light is burst in their eyes to express themselves, the light goes dark because this is a difficult, fucked up world. So I think we always, as artists, need to support each other because you'll get happy that like trying times make like angry young kids who might outdo themselves and create new genres, but it actually also at the same time is dousing so many people who almost had their hands on the bike and were going with
Mm.
expressing themselves. So it's like doing your thing, pushing through money in this fucked up world to do it. It's really important, and no one gets the crown they deserve for that shit. But it's
Yeah.
it's better than just seeing 7 a.m. on repeat and
Mm.
like having Tuesdays in a row. Like leaving yourself, having something to rewind, having something to play a friend that shows the best of you. That's the finer things in life.
Man, you said it. You said it so succinctly and well and perfectly that I wish we could end on that note. But I'm true to the setup, and I gotta ask the lightning round questions real,
Let's
real
do it.
quick. But and before I do that, one last personal anecdote. I've said thank you 1,000 times, but I mean it. And the continuation when I first heard you was like the Aesop stuff, and then for whatever reason, I went down one path and was listening to certain stuff, and I didn't really follow up with what you were doing later. And then years later, when I started making beats on the SP, I was reading some SP forum and someone mentioned Cloud Dead, and that's how I found out about Cloud Dead. That was probably, I guess, 2019, 2020. And that music just absolutely fucking blew me away, and I just wanted to thank you personally for that. I know you have other projects, but that was the one that reintroduced me to Dose One, and to Nose Dom,
Yeah,
who I'm
man,
going to speak with about that album in great detail, about
that's
those
great.
albums, excuse me. And I just wanted
And
to,
that was that music is I've been trying to return to, not specifically that sound, but that
mm,
time in my relationship to creativity, because it was before there were expectations.
hmm,
And after that, everything wanted to be a career and wanted to be this. You got to do more of what people like. And like, no, actually, you don't. Because
hmm.
what they liked the most was this thing that just came out of left field.
I,
So, like, all that stability, all that shit everyone teaches you about art is all bullshit, man. You just have to outdo yourself and try to stay in touch
and
and like
express.
deepen the relationship with whatever's calling you. Because that music, returning to that space with all the skill I have now and not being a
Yeah.
mixed stitch anymore, that's the joy of life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I run the self title back like I just heard it. Like I run it back quite a lot. It's one of the albums. It's with my Mad Villainies and my things that I listen to so very much that it's had a lasting
Oh,
impact.
it means a lot.
But
So that's what's up. Thank
thank
you.
you, bro. And so lightning round, real quick. So bang. What is the first machine you made a beat on?
That's going to be the Roland SP202, the Doctor sample.
That's incredible, man. I love that thing. My homie Bub, shout out to homie Bub. He's a 202 user. Every time we do Flip a Beat Club, he brings out the 202, and he's true to that shit. And we
Oh
respect the
yeah, till
SP
the
202.
RCA's go. It's like all fun and games till the RCA's go out on that piece of shit.
But then you,
I've had like three,
oh my
but
god! But
yeah,
then you
man,
just
it's
get under the hood and shit. You know what I mean? And you
yeah, man,
mentioned the OP
yeah, I'm
one.
not that dude.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm trying to learn it, but I'm trying to do too much right now. So, you mentioned the OP1, but what else have you been cooking on lately in terms of DAWs, hardware, or software, or whatever?
Push to Ableton is my go-to because I am very. It just pours out of me now, and then I edit, worry about sounds later. But I also my Isla, I made a record. It's like a duets record I've been working on with all these rappers. I made all the beats, and that was all on the S2400, the Isla SP1200 recreation, which is really great. It's kind of the old nightmare of SP sequencing navigating, but the degradation of sound quality is like 1-to-1 to the actual SP.
Cool.
So
I've
I'm very
wondered
happy
about
because
that.
that's a sound that is like a whoopee to me. It just makes me feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I never messed with one, but they look mad cool, and I've wondered about that. So it's good to hear you say that. Um,
I highly recommend it. Really well made.
I got to pull up on my homie Monzrock out in Sacramento. Shout out to Monzrock. Shout out to Flip a Beat Club. He got one, and I wanted to fuck with it, but he got 75,000 other things in that crib. So I was like, you know what? We're just going to go with what we know and just,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I can't learn something new in a room like this.
What can I turn on right now? Yeah,
Right.
100%.
Is there any techniques on your beat making device of choice that you wouldn't mind sharing that maybe somebody doesn't know, that maybe you didn't find out till later messing with one of these things? Like, oh shit, this might save somebody some time.
Man, I would say actually for me, just with respect to what we were talking about earlier with sound design, is using the OP1 like a glorified SK1 and sampling in your own voice and separating it onto keys and then using all the LFOs to
Hmm.
their maximum capacity and pitching all at the same time and really making something from nothing. I think that is actually I've never actually done that and tried to make a beat out of it, but there's a whole world of process there that is like super organic, but absolutely couldn't be done without the machine between you and the DAW.
Man, I'm not bullshitting you at all when I say the very next chance I get, I might call out of work. I'm going to that spot in North Jersey. I'm
Get
dropping
it
my
fixed.
OP1 off and I'm getting it fixed. And that's the end of that. And finally, well, I guess two things. As far as beats, Mount Rushmore. We don't fuck with the landmass that is known as Mount Rushmore for what they did to the native people. But in terms of the idea of what that is, like what four do you put up there for beat making?
Oh, wow. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
the hard
go
one.
pretty much, I think, nostalgic because the stuff that for me is the most important sacred
Mm.
sound to me. But I'm gonna say Tony D,
Okay.
who did all of the original Poor Righteous Teachers records,
Really?
Wise Intelligent. If you have never gone back and listened to Tony D has a solo record and the beats on there, OPP was his beat that got stolen by Naughty. And
Whoa.
he does a million diss songs about it. But
Whoa.
Tony D, the fucking Bomb Squad, to
Yes.
this fucking day,
Yes.
every like they were always on it, but the work on Fear of a Black Planet and then by the time I get to Arizona is literally, oh my bad. KKK's Most Wanted,
Mm.
the first Ice Cube solo record, is
Yeah.
kind of a perfect production experience for me. Like, it's fucking nasty rap. It's all the things at once. Bomb Squad is more than one person, but whatever. They're all
Sure.
going
That's a
on as Mount
unit.
Rushmore. And who else was huge for me? Trying to think here. Man, I can't lie. All of the LP's early work with
Yeah.
Company Flow, super seminal for me. Again, that was someone who like had beats in his head and then got his hands on samplers, and
Yeah.
the world is better for it. Um, and yeah, I don't know. And then Prince Paul,
Hell
because
yeah.
he not only did he create all these production sensibilities that I adore, but he also created the fucking hip hop skit and
Word.
the very energy of rap that I responded to, like that dialogue with the listener, all that radio play shit. Um, and then also being the fact that he was like blowing up and in stet and like the man about town and then took such a chance on De La.
Yeah.
And then they made, I think the best rap ever made is those first three De La records, my humble opinion.
I can't argue with that.
Like,
That's real.
yeah, whole package. Yeah, so something like that, and then there's a lot of, I probably have learned more and been inspired more by my contemporaries and all the people I do work with. But it's
Hmm.
important to, I never would have liked production if it weren't for those people
That's real.
like outdoing themselves. You know what I mean?
Man, it's so interesting that you say those names for different reasons. I mean, LP, obviously, I hate the word underrated, but I use it a lot. He's not necessarily underrated, but I think people need to put more flowers at LP's feet. Not just as a beat maker, rapper, label dude, like just pushing the whole sound like completely forward. And I love LP. In a perfect world, I get him on this podcast because that's who I want to talk to about B. I need to talk to you. I need to talk to all of these people. But man, right there at the forefront of that movement is a lot of crazy LP shit that just blew my mind when I heard it. And
Yeah, man.
yeah.
And you got to check out some Tony D. He's a fucking white boy. He has a really embarrassing song talking about how he's 33 and a third percent black because he's Sicilian. He's a hot mess on the mic. There's a really great on the end of the second PRT record. Also, if you've never listened to the first three PRT records, you need to tap in.
Oh, I have.
Wise Intelligent is like one of the greatest ever.
Dude.
It's zero flowers and literally still to this day is better than most rappers. But
Yeah.
on one of those, there's a posse cut. And right away, Wise is like using the talk back in the studio. And he's like, "Hey, Tony, why don't you come in here and kick some of that rubbish you be writing?"
That's tough.
Tony comes in and raps. But like his beats, man, when you get into it, he really was freaking the fucking sampler, man.
Yeah.
Really, really impressive. And then, kind of being a goof, but
Yeah.
some really, really timeless shit.
I sample a lot of like I try to anyway sample like interviews and stuff like that, and I came across Wise Intelligent just from giving interviews because he's just always talking like the fucking smartest dude you ever heard talk about real shit. But I had to mention that too because you wouldn't believe me if I told you, but my dad out the blue, my dad is like the type of dude that will just send me a link to something with no context. I won't have texted him for days and shit, weeks and shit, and he'll just send me a link. And I love it because it's often somebody rapping and he knows that I love rap music and I make music. But he literally 2 days ago, I'll send you the screenshot. He sent me like a Wise Intelligent it was either a song, an interview, something, and I was like, oh, that's random as hell. Like I came across Poor Righteous Teachers, not long ago, and for you to mention that right here, right now, man, this has been a very cosmic interview. Um,
Yeah,
and
man. No, he's Blackwatch adjacent, and like X Clan and
word,
PRT was something that I was really drawn to. As a white boy, learning the ropes, being the only white boy I knew for the most part of my formative years, and then there's just, I honestly, I wish that Afrocentric Black nationalist rap had a longer run in the forms zeitgeist. It's
yeah,
something that those guys really outdid themselves, and I always wish for it, and I'm here to support it. And it's like, but the form itself was fighting being popular at the same time it was finding its like teeth and meaning. And I think there's like a stopgap where the
sure.
Black Watch movement was kind of the best rap has ever been because it actually meant everything, as opposed to
Yeah.
being sounding good in the car.
But then it got
Whatever started
infiltrated
happening to
just
rap.
like anything else, I feel like that shit, there was an agenda that infiltrated that shit and kind of put it to a stop. But that is
Yeah, it's kind
absolutely
of
for
CIA vibes for sure. That
you
definitely
feel
was
me?
like,
Something
but
got
I also
tampered
think
with.
it's, yeah, and it's like the unorganized agenda of people being bitches and it being a fire that burns.
For yeah.
Um, so whatever, I don't know who's to say, but I'm, like that. There's stuff like, because I listen to the PRT records a lot in the crib, and there's like, I mean, even on the first record, which has like Butt Naked Booty Bless and all this kind of silly, sexy rap stuff too, there's verses where you're like, God damn, you were this amazing and on point and political, and it sounded from the future back in the past. It's kind of mind blowing.
Man, shout out to Poor Righteous Teachers. Shout out to all parties mentioned and involved. And before we wrap this, we did go a little over an hour, but we're talking to legends, man. I'm really trying to keep it concise, but that was a lot of jewels packed into this last 87 minutes or what have you. And you
Yeah, man.
that was some good shit. And before we cut though, before we wrap, once again, thank you for your time. And would you like to shout out anybody that you are working with, listening to, enjoying, just a name you'd like to say? I'm not going to play the Academy Award wrap it up box on you. Go crazy. Mention people. We give them
Yeah.
flowers and
Fucking. I mean, my favorite record, man, of the last couple months is you and Teller and the boys and Filth and Kane. That is probably my fave. I'm very excited to hear this new Big L because that's one of my Jesuses,
yeah.
but I'm not really thrilled with like comeback rap, even though I know that's me too. I guess I should open
Well,
my
that's
heart. But
posthumous
like
though.
the
That's a
mob,
different level.
I can't listen to this weird cybernetic rap, classic rap recreation stuff. But what else?
And
The whole
thank you, by
Backwoods
the way.
crew, man.
Yes.
There is not a mid-tier human being involved in any level. It's really exceptional art. I think it's
Yes.
timeless. I think it's some of the best rap has ever been, sonically and lyrically.
Yes.
It is like there's no filler. Shout out to all my contemporaries that are still doing it, to all the Anticon guys, everybody in Project Blowed, Aesop Rock, all the homies in the Midwest, Mestizo, and what else? And then the non-rap thing is Sam Prekop, amazing ambient music. He used to be the front man for Sea and Cake, which is like a post-rock band from Chicago
Cool.
in the 2000s. And he makes my favorite modular ambient fucking shit, man. I put it on as much as PRT. I put
Word.
on the
Word.
Sam Prekop in the crib.
That's who we're talking to right now. You know what I mean? Like I could tell
That's right.
you know what I mean? I could tell. Man.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, Yeah, man, and thank you for having me. And I wish you nothing but the best as you like start this new venture and like our producer talking to producers. I think it's important. You're gonna get people to express the stuff that I think makes producers feel good, and then also educates, which I think people with the podcast for that shit. I don't know.
Right. Man, thank you, bro. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the kind words. I also would like to piggyback off what you said about Backwoods. They have been mentioned on every single episode of this podcast so far, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Go team.
Go team,
Yeah,
man.
well, that was, the fucking energy that made me be jazzed about Anticon and all the littler groups I was always in before that. It's still alive and different in the Backwoods family right now. And when I went to that
Yes.
show where we first met, that was what was like making my bones ripple. Was I was like completely different people, same energy, new chapter, new story, same story. As an older motherfucker, it felt as good as finding it as a young shithead. It's like really, really important. You
Man,
know what I mean? And then they're having success, which is like really great for the
yeah.
best music to get the best reception. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
We love that, man. We love that record you did with Dove. I need to talk to him, man. I need to stop. I keep name dropping on this shit, but we're showing
Yeah, you
flowers.
do.
Like, you know what I mean? I need to talk to Dove because he's made some shit that made
And
me be
Dove
like,
walked the walk. Yeah,
yeah,
and he's from all the eras, works with all the people, does all the recording, records
man.
every Woods verse pretty much. Like he is also like he's built right, man. He's just there for the business, he's there for the creative, and he's down to earth dude. And like I mean, not everybody's like that.
Not
Everybody's
everybody is
hitting
like
on all
that.
cylinders.
And he's one of the modern greats. And it's funny because when I had the Sharif verse on my album at the beginning of the year, I got the email in and I was like, oh shit, Dove recorded this. I'm like, man, bro, like we doing
Yeah, he
something here,
did.
man. We talking to the right people right now. So shout out to you and Dove and yes, the whole team, all parties mentioned. Once again, can't thank you enough. Appreciate you stopping by. And we about to wrap. That's
Yeah,
episode
man.
8. And everybody drink some water and hug your mother if you can. And if you can't, hug somebody else's mother. And we love you. And we'll see you next time. Thank you, bro.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, Q.
Of course.